Hey, Kyle is wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's NJPW Strong from July 9th, 2022, and it does see the start of the first ever New Japan Strong Tag Team Champion tournament. The crown the first ever NJPW Strong Tag Champions. So that'll start tonight. Even before I click on the video, I get to see what the full bracket is. We got to find out all the participants last week, but now I get to see the bracket here. So on the left side of the bracket is Christopher Daniels and Yuya Uemura versus the Factories, Nick Comoroto and Aaron Solo. And then also on the left side of the bracket is TMDK versus West Coast Wrecking Crew, and the winners of those two first round matches will meet in the semifinals. On the other side of the bracket, we'll get these matches next week. Those first two matches we get this week. Next week, we'll have the other side of the bracket: Midnight Heat versus Stray Dog Army, and Dark Order versus Aussie Open. So the winners of those two matches next week will also meet in the other semifinal. So in the back, before we start off, or just to start off this show, we see Christopher Daniels with play-by-play man Ian Riccaboni. Ian says that since Carl Fredericks was unable to compete in this tournament due to injury, Carl recruited Christopher Daniels to take his spot. Daniels said that he tries to be the smartest man in the room, and logic says that the spot should go to an established tag team. But I also know that opportunities don't like this come around very often. So I went out and I recruited Yuya Uemura, who then walks in, and Daniels asks Yuya to be his partner. They shake hands as Yuya says, "Let's go." So that sets up the tag team here. It was supposed to be Carl Fredericks in this, but it's going to be Christopher Daniels instead. We get the opening video for New Japan Strong playing, and this is the first of the Ignition tapings in Los Angeles. So we've been in Philadelphia for a little while, and now we're back in Los Angeles, the home of NJPW Strong, for these Ignition tapings. So Alex Koslov will be calling the action alongside Ian Riccaboni tonight, and probably all of these Ignition tapings. And then they show the brackets and say we'll start with the two matches on the left side tonight, and the main event will be TMDK versus West Coast Wrecking Crew. Ian says this could have been the finals, but luck of the draw put those two against each other in the first round, which I definitely agree with that. So it's going to be a good main event. Also tonight we'll see JONAH versus Taylor Rust, which is interesting. JONAH's only a week away from competing in his very first G1 climax, so getting a last little bit of training here before he heads off to Japan. But we're going to go to the opening match of the evening. It'll be in the New Japan Strong Tag Team Tournament. So the Factory comes out to make their entrance. It's Aaron Solo and Nick Comoroto from AEW. And it doesn't look like QT Marshall has joined them for this match. And no, we don't see QT Marshall at all, which is kind of weird since this is a big title tournament. Christopher Daniels' classic TNA music hits as he makes his way out alongside Yuya Uemura. Daniels is one of the best wrestlers I've ever had the honor of watching in my life, and he's a big, big reason I became a TNA fan back in 2004. So the announcers say that Yuya and Daniels only met a few months ago, and they've never tagged together. Meanwhile, the Factory has had a lot of tag matches together, so that's something to keep in mind here. Daniels and Solo will start the match, and it starts off with some pretty good grappling between the two men. Daniels gets the better of the exchange and tags in Yuya. Yuya then works over a headlock. Solo is able to show some good skills to escape from this headlock and then tag in Nick Comoroto. So Nick comes in with a size advantage over anyone else in this match by far. Nick tells Yuya to shoulder tackle into him, so Yuya does. Nick no sells it and then takes down Yuya. Yuya battles back with two drop kicks, but Nick is still standing. So Yuya hits another big shoulder tackle. That's able to take the big man off his feet. Both men then tag out. Daniels comes in, hits a nice leg lariat to take control over Aaron Solo. Then Ian brings up how Daniels actually won the ROH tournament at the beginning of ROH to crown the first ever tag champions in ROH alongside Donovan Morgan. So good bit of trivia there, since this is a tournament to crown the first ever NJPW Strong Tag Champions. So there is precedence of Daniels winning these big tournaments, albeit that was almost 2 decades ago. So Nick then now pulls Daniels out of the ring from the outside. This gives Solo control. They isolate Daniels into their corner for a while. Nick tags in and gets some more cheap shots. Um, They keep Daniels in that corner and hit a scoop slam. Nick is now in back to tag to Solo. They hit a double team suplex kick combo. Daniels is in big trouble now. So the crowd rallies behind Daniels, who had stomped his heel on the ground to get the crowd going as well. Big veteran move there. Daniels then fights back with a nasty, got all of it, Death Valley driver, and then tags in Yuya. That was a great looking move there. Yuya comes in and knocks Nick off the apron, then knocks down Solo with a forearm. Yuya then hits a corner splash bulldog combo. Solo then blocks a Saito suplex attempt, but then Yuya just hits it soon after anyway. Nick has to come in and break the pin and hits a Ushigoroshi on Yuya. That looks pretty nice. One of the better moves I've ever seen Nick Comoroto hit. Solo then makes the cover, but Yuya kicks out. The crowd's rallying behind Yuya now big time. So Yuya flips out of a suplex attempt and then tags in Daniels. Daniels again knocks Nick off the apron, then hits an STO on Solo. Nick runs in to help, but keep Daniels from going for the BME. Yuya comes in to help Daniels take care of Nick, but Nick knocks down both men with a double clothesline. Another good move from Nick. So Yuya dives to the outside. Once they get Nick to the outside, Solo tries a roll up at this point, but that only gets a 2 count. Daniels then hits his judo throw, then hits the BME for the 1-2-3. The winners by pinfall are Christopher Daniels and Yuya Uemura. They will advance to the semifinals and face the winner of tonight's main event in the semifinals. So that's good stuff there. Love seeing Christopher Daniels back, and Yuya Uemura continues to improve week after week. Should be a pretty good, formidable tag team to fight whoever wins the main event tonight. So we've got undefeated JONAH versus Taylor Rust next, and Taylor Rust comes out the pretty good cheers. Former member of Team Filthy until he challenged Lawler for the strong title. JONAH's now out next, getting some last minute preparation before he starts his first ever G1 journey next week. He's got a group full of monsters and Okada, so it's going to be a tough one. JONAH won't necessarily be able to use his size advantage throughout that group. There's a lot of big guys, including Tom Lawler and Lance Hoyt, not Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer. See, I told you I was a TNA fan since 2004. Anyway, that's going to be a great to watch JONAH's journey in G1. So definitely I'll be here to review all those shows, and we'll take the journey with JONAH through that monster A group, A block. So JONAH has the massive size advantage in this match versus Taylor Rust. Rust is going to be looking to get a hold on and maybe make the big man tap. And Rust is also good with his kicks. So that's what Rust starts with. But JONAH brushes off these leg kicks right away. And Rust is very aware in this match. He's taking it very gingerly because he doesn't want to get caught with a big power move. Rust is able to use his agility and technique to get down JONAH to the ground with a drop toe hold. But JONAH's able to get right back up and destroys Rust with an avalanche tackle. Just looked amazing, almost into the ropes too. That was a great look. But while on the ground, Rust is able to counter into a one-leg Boston Crab on JONAH. Rust breaks the hold himself so that he can lay some kicks into the knee of JONAH. Rust now stays in control while hitting the knee until a big buckle bomb by JONAH changes the momentum. Rust tries to roll to the outside to recover, but JONAH goes after him, hitting some big chops in front of the crowd. Rust tries to fight back, but JONAH keeps control and hits a back elbow, which has slowed the pace down big time. JONAH with the pace he wants. JONAH then headbutts the back of the head. This fires up Rust, who tries to slam JONAH, but of course, JONAH is able to block it with his size. This sends Rust to the ground, where JONAH squeezes the torso while Rust is on the ground. Rust gets up to his feet twice, but JONAH just takes him back down to the mat both times, still just squeezing the life out of the lungs of Taylor Rust. Rust then elbows the way out eventually, but JONAH hits a scoop slam. Then Rust is able to dodge a splash, giving him some time to recover. Rust dodges a corner splash twice after this and hits a nice scissors kick. JONAH answers back with a super kick of his own and then a slam. JONAH goes up to the middle rope, but his knee was bothering him, made him a little slow on that. Rust is able to get up, hit a big pump kick, and lift JONAH up onto his shoulders. Taylor Rust then hits a nice looking Samoa drop, for a 2 count. And then a double stomp by Rust gets another 2 count. Rust hits some big strikes, then goes up to the top rope, and Rust hits a swanton bomb that lands with all of his weight on JONAH. That looked pretty devastating. That was a good move there. Rust then strikes the ribs of JONAH and locks in a submission on both arms. JONAH's able to use his power to get to the ropes to break it. Both men are now on the mat recovering as the crowd rallies behind both, and they get up, start a striking exchange. Rust uses kicks to maybe take advantage in the striking exchange, but JONAH is just way too strong. JONAH hits a clothesline and a senton for a 2 count. Then JONAH goes up for a massive spear, then up to the top rope and connects with a top rope splash for the 1-2-3. The winner by pinfall is JONAH. Now JONAH will head over to Japan to start his G1 journey that starts in a week's time. Definitely looking forward to that. Now it's time for our main event already, and a little bit shorter of a show. The shows have been hour and 15. This one was about 53 minutes, so a little bit shorter than we've been getting this last month. And it will be the second of the 4 first round matches in the tag team tournament to crown the first ever New Japan Strong Tag Titles champions. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, their blue strap tag titles with silver plating, they look exactly like the SmackDown tag titles. I have no idea why they would choose that. If you're going to go with a blue strap, then make it gold plating. Don't have the silver plating exactly like the SmackDown tag titles. Anyway, Royce Isaacs and Jorel Nelson, the West Coast Wrecking Crew, are out first. They also represent Team Filthy. And TMDK, the Mighty Don't Kneel, are out next. That is Mikey Nicholls and Shane Haste. This is going to be a great match. And Mikey Nicholls and Shane Haste are looking to add the first ever New Japan Strong Tag Champions to their already impressive Hall of Fame worthy resume. So West Coast Wrecking Crew get into the face of the TMDK right before the bell rings. Jorel steals the t-shirt from, I think, Mikey Nicholls and puts it on mockingly, then takes it off before the match starts. So Mikey Nicholls and Jorel Nelson will start this main event match. Remember, it is a tournament match. The winner of this match gets Christopher Daniels and Yuya Uemura in the semifinals. So we try to get a clean break to start, but of course it is not clean, but Mikey's able to dodge the punch. And then they trade shoulder tackles. Mikey wins this exchange, then tags in Shane, and they hit a double team move on Jorel to start us off. Shane then hits some big kicks, but Jorel fights back. Shane's able to hit a Hurricanrana, but Jorel is able to tag out to Royce Isaacs. They hit a double team move now on Shane and knock Mikey off the apron. Royce hits a long delayed 20 seconds at least vertical suplex, and then West Coast Wrecking Crew pose. So good match so far. Nobody knows who's going to win. Pretty even here. Royce then hits some strikes and has Shane isolated in their corner. Jorel then takes some cheap shots while Mikey is trying to help but getting stopped by the ref, and that allows those cheap shots. We got to tag the Jorel now, who works a headlock and tags back in Royce. Shane's comeback is now cut short with a big boot and another quick tag. Double team on Shane now, and which Jorel gets a 2 count off of. Jorel's now talking trash and hits mounted punches. Shane's in big trouble as we hit the 5-minute mark only. It's already big trouble for Shane. Shane's able to fight back with 6 palm strikes in a row, but Jorel maintains control, cutting it off. Jorel then goes to the top rope, but Shane hits a superplex and is able to tag in Mikey Nicholls. Royce tags in 2, but Mikey takes down both men. Mikey then hits some big lariats for a 2 count. Royce now blocks a move and is able to dodge the next move to tag in Jorel. And they hit a double massive looking power bomb on Shane. Shane has to come break up the pin. It was on Mikey. So Mikey then blocks a German suplex attempt and hits a DDT, and he's able to tag in Shane. Shane takes out both men. There's a power slam and a cannonball senton separately by both of TMDK to each member of West Coast Wrecking Crew. Then a tank buster double team by TMDK, but Royce Isaacs is able to break up the pin on Jorel. Jorel then fights out of another double team, and they hit a double team move of their own on Mikey. Royce now hits the high impact spinning slam from the middle rope, but Shane is able to kick out. A double team move is stopped by Mikey Nicholls now, and they hit a double team elevator on Royce Isaacs for the 1-2-3. The winners by pinfall are the Mighty Don't Kneel, Shane Haste, and Mikey Nicholls, and they will face Christopher Daniels and Yuya Uemura in the semifinals of this New Japan Strong Tag Tournament. So Jorel then gets in the face of TMDK after the match, but then just leaves, taking Royce Isaacs out with him. Next week, we will see the other two first-round matches, so that's going to be a good one. Not quite sure what's going to happen there, but my prediction before I even saw who was in the tournament was that we will see TMDK versus Aussie Open in the finals, and I don't know who will win that, but I assume it'll be Aussie Open. So that was my guess before I even saw who was in the tournament, and I'm going to stick with that guess for sure. So next week, we'll find out who wins those other two first-round matches, and we'll probably get a third singles match to go with that as well. So I'll be back here next week to cover that. And don't forget, I'll be covering all of the G1 as well as doing separate backstage comment videos for each night of G1. So I'll talk to you guys a lot in the next coming week, and I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you again then. Peace.